Come on. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Drone Therapy, the Bucketlist Boys, Season 2, Episode 11, with guest. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my bad. Welcome to Drone There's Therapy, always some kind of little glitch that I'm not paying attention to at the time. Hey, we're perfect. We're not perfect. Twice there. Anyway, and we're waiting on Kelly to get his headphones. So basically, I wanted to give shout outs to kind of a special thing we're going to try to do every week here. Kind of the Sesame Street like thing. This week's episode is brought to you by Old Guy in a Drone. Mitch is one of our sponsors for this week. We're going to give him the shout out. And also Drone Effects with Claude. So please check out their channels, subscribe to their channels, and give them a big shout out from us and give them some good likes and good love. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ron for kind of an idea of what he's going to talk to Kelly about tonight while we continue to wait. Ron.
Hello. Thank you, Bill, for that great intro. And I want to thank everybody that's in the chat room tonight and watching the show. It's going to be a special episode tonight with Kelly from Ready, Set, Drone. And we have another special guest tonight too, my label maker. We're going to cover a very interesting story that broke yesterday that says that all drones, that all registered drones have to have the number on the outside of the drone, and it can no longer be put in inside the battery compartment or another concealed area. And that has to be completed by February 23rd. So we'll get both Bill's thoughts on that and Kelly's also. So, we all have questions for Kelly, and I guess I don't want to reveal them now, but, just some general questions. So I'm going to pass it over to Bill H. coming us from not so sunny Florida today.
Thanks, Ron. Yeah, we didn't get out of 60s today. And believe me, when it gets down there like this and you've lived here for 8 years, it's a little on the chilly side. I'm really looking forward to talking to Kelly tonight. I've had him on before, met him in person. Just you guys are in for an absolute treat tonight. That's all I can say. One of the things I wanted to talk to Kelly about is the smart controller and what his experience has been with it. I think it was pretty fantastic. And if you watched the show last night, got a lot of kudos for, and I want to pass this, credit for this to Bill. About the Spark being on sale at Sam's Club for $240, and I didn't get any responses from anybody finding that. But also, the Mavic 2 Pro was on sale. It was through a link from Drone DJ. It was $150 off. So those were kind of crazy things that came up that I found out about the last minute. And I'm gonna pass it back to Bill.
Well, hey, look, he's got back and he's got his headphones on. And I just wanted to say that I am so grateful for you to come in and spend some time.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. So I had I got home late from work and I didn't realize both kids had lacrosse games tonight. So we were doing some running around to get them there, get dinner made, etc. So, but here I am. I wouldn't miss it.
Well, I'm very grateful again. I'm glad that Bill H is the guy who hooked us up tonight, and
I'm going to be eating dinner during part of this, so
that's perfectly fine. I was actually thinking about eating some apples while you were on, just to see.
Oh, there you go.
Kind of a side effect on you, so because they were asking me, they were like, "Oh, Bill, you really did your homework," and I was like, "No, he's got everything in one place on the website for Sparkside and everything, so that you can go check it out. And he's got the bio there, and even a lot of fun facts too that I thought was really cool."
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, if you pull those off the Sparkside site, though, that's some of that stuff's a couple of years old. I'd need to look and see. I mean, it still all applies, but there may be more updated stuff since then.
Well, the thing that I had mentioned to the guys and I'd noticed on a different page something about the children's educational book, like with STEM education. I was curious how you were going with that.
Yeah, so I started that around this time last year, and so the original idea that the publisher wanted me to do was 101 activities to do with your drone. And that might sound easy to come up with, but it was actually 101 is actually a pretty big number when you start thinking about it, like coming up with 101 activities. So I kind of did a compromise with him, and I came up with a bunch of not just activities, but like skills. So it was kind of split into skills and then activities. And the skills I'm done with, and I've got 16 more activities I need to come up with. So actually, if we can get your audience to provide us with suggested, safe, kid-friendly drone activities that I could put in the book, I would appreciate that. I never thought about crowdsourcing this.
Okay. So we're asking you guys in the chat right now, kid-friendly drone activities, and some of those ideas might end up in Kelly's book.
So I'm recommending 2 different drones to kids initially. One is the SEMA X5C, which if you ever watch any of my stuff, it's my absolute favorite beginner drone. Yeah, lightweight, easy to fly. Well, actually kind of challenging to fly, but it's a great trainer drone. And then the Spark. So that's the GPS if you actually want to take good pictures kind of thing. So and I may have to change that, depending on when the book gets published. But the goal is to have it out in time for the 2019 beginning of the school year. And it's being published by Rosen Publishing, which has deals with schools, libraries, and a lot of things like that. So they actually have a built-in audience. I don't think I'll make a lot of money on it, but it's kind of a project of passion.
Okay, I see the one thing that I'm seeing right now, actually a couple of things, was basic filming, and the other was 3D mapping. Which actually,
so I already have a chapter on mapping, but it's very simple mapping. It's basically just doing throwing the Spark up over your house and or wherever you live and doing a very crude kind of drawing of or picture of it and then labeling the picture. That's what the activity is.
Okay, so something else I wanted to ask you really quick, and this was something I had found on the DJI Guides website.
Oh, yeah. Did you see my article there?
Do you still think that the Spark is a game changer? And do you think that there's potential for a new Spark in the near future?
So that article was written when the Spark came out, which would have been the beginning of 2017, I think. And it's a game changer in that it was the lowest price GPS, kind of high quality drone with a gimbal at the time. Of course, there's more now, but I don't know. I don't actually know currently, and I have had some insider information in the past. You see my dog back there getting up on the couch. That's because my wife is not home, so she does that when she's not home. I don't know if there's going to be a Spark 2, but it wouldn't surprise me. I do speculate, and this is pure speculation, that I don't have any insider information, that DJI might release a racing drone. It seems like it would be a natural fit for them to do that.
Yeah, it's about the only area they haven't tapped into yet. Okay,
oh, yeah.
To get on with my other thing, my pet peeve with DJI is,
sure,
I went ahead and I purchased DJI Select.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everybody, for the low price, and you get your accessory coupons. Well, as time has progressed, it seems like the only accessories that they're allowing us to access are the really low range, inexpensive, low dollar stuff. And I'm like, my battle with them was when they advertised it on their site, it said very plainly, the smart controller was a consumer accessory for the Mavic 2. And it says very plainly, before, when I got my coupons, it says very plainly that they are for consumer accessories. Okay. Now, I had these coupons August last year. Then, right before the smart controller comes out, they update their website to include, get this, you can't use them with the smart controller. And I'm like, then why did I buy Select if you're only going to let me get discounted stuff that I can get from GearBest at a third of the price?
All right, I don't have an answer, but I do have a theory. And my theory is that they are probably pushing things that are a little bit older. I have noticed that most of the coupons, like I don't even think any of the coupons apply to the Mavic 2 yet. Maybe they do, but they were for the Mavic Pro, which has been out for a while. They were for the Spark. And I think because the smart controller just came out, they didn't want to cannibalize it right away. You know what I mean? It's those coupons are for things that have been out for a while, is my guess.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's kind of misleading when you're throwing it to the customer. You're saying these are going to, and you're thinking, okay, cool. I bought my Mavic 2 Pro with the regular controller. At least give me the opportunity to purchase the controller at a discounted rate like you're going to put in the package.
I agree with you, and I also agree that perhaps what they should do is, if you buy it, you should get like a discount across the board. It's kind of like, you know how you get free shipping with Amazon Prime? It should be like that. It's like, okay, if you buy DJI Select, or is that what it's called? Yeah. I actually have it on a couple of my things, but if you buy it, you get 5% across anything, you know, and then there's additional coupons. That might be a better way to do it. And, you know, quite honestly, that might be something to suggest to them.
Trust me, they've answered me a few times because I've gone back and forth with them over the Select coupons, and I've kind of been, forgive me, I'm a little anal every now and again. I actually put in there, I was like, I started printing pictures showing how it was an accessory on the consumer drones.
Right.
How it was, you know, and
did you put it on? Did you put it up on Twitter? Okay, and did you get a reply from?
Oh, a little bit here and there, but where I've only got like 80 followers, they went, meh.
Yeah.
They're like, you're nothing.
Well, let me ask a question just so I understand everybody's geography. Where are all you guys? I know Bill H is in Florida, but where are you two guys?
Okay, I am originally from Southwest Virginia, a little town called Marion, where they invented Mountain Dew, and now I live 20 miles north of the Emerald City, Seattle. Okay, and Ron.
Hi, Kelly. I was born in southeastern Pennsylvania, and I live in South Jersey.
Okay, so you're both pretty far north. You're experiencing some cold right now.
Oh, definitely. We both had snow over the weekend.
What's 20 miles north of Seattle? What, I mean, I've been to Vancouver, but what's between Seattle and Vancouver?
I'm in the city that Boeing built, Everett.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm literally, get this, 5.5 miles that way is the
Canadian border?
No, is the Everett Airport right there. So, and they've just turned it into an international airport. So my drones, even though after I notify them, they're like capped at like 200 feet. So they're automatically shut down, which is cool. I can still take off, but I can't go any higher, and I don't really fly them that much here anyway.
You got to go south a little bit to fly them.
Or, well, actually, I kind of got to go east, because all up and down through here, there's stuff riddled with farms and little heliports and everything. You're going in and out. So I actually have to kind of go at the foot of the mountains to fly safely.
Well, I will say I would love to fly up Mount Rainier sometime, because that is a pretty cool looking mountain. I took off from Seattle one time. I was there for work, and I remember we just flew up over the clouds, and I could just see the peak of Rainier as we were flying past it. It was so cool, beautiful.
Well, I don't want to keep things rolling. I see some stuff going on in the chat, and
you know what? I don't have the chat open. I'm going to bring it up real quick so I can see what's going on too.
And I know I can see that Ron is also eager to get into some questions as well, and I've got some stuff that we were going to try to do in the interviews portion at the end of the show.
So let me ask one more question, because this is a burning question for me. You guys have a lot of names. You got Coast to Coast Drones, you got the Bucketlist Boys, you've got, what's the other one?
Drone Therapy.
Drone Therapy, yeah. So is that, and of course, Bill the Drone Reviewer, that makes sense. I get that, because it's very self-explanatory. Is that just like a collaboration between all these channels? Is that what you guys have?
Okay, basically, what happened is Coast to Coast Drones, I had done some research before I started my channel, and I had noticed that there was a company on the West Coast called Coast to Coast Drones. Well, they went belly up. So, and I really liked the name. I thought it was really cool and original. So I evolved my channel into Coast to Coast.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me mute this real quick. Sorry.
All right, you're good.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I evolved the channel into Coast to Coast Drones. And then I think roughly a year later, there's another gentleman in Texas that actually he's a helicopter pilot.
I saw that.
So he instantly has, the 107. So I was kind of like, well, I already named my channel that beforehand. And if you notice on the channel, a lot of times,
apostrophe.
Yeah. So, and Drone Therapy came from, I used to run with Billy Kyle and Daniel Sampson. He's drone worship. And of course, most everybody knows Billy. And we started Drone Therapy like almost a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And we came on each week and we were going to talk to smaller channels, which is still kind of what we do. And drone therapy kind of popped into my head. So we created Drone Therapy. And after the first year, everybody's channel kind of blew up. And of course, Billy's is huge now and always has been huge. I think he came with us when he was about 15K.
Okay.
So anyway, so towards the end of that, I had Jack Kramer. Actually, the first time that anybody saw Billy and Kyle and Ken Dono on camera together was on Drone Therapy.
Nice. Nice.
So, that's a little known fact. But like I said, and Billy's, got his 107 now. He's got a professional business. Ken's got his 107 now. He's got a professional business. So they're both doing their things. And so then, Bill and I became really good friends. Ron and I had been good friends for a while. We got talking, and then this thing popped into my head, and I kind of chuckled one day. I said, we're kind of like the Bucketlist Boys, and it kind of clicked. So we evolved the second season of Drone Therapy into Drone Therapy, the Bucketlist Boys.
Got it. I love it. It's got a nice ring to it.
And then if you'll notice, like I told the guys what I want to do, I'm not out to push for a huge channel. I'm not out to get like big sponsorships. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to. But I kind of wanted to make it kind of like the cool bar that all the big name shows wanted to go to after they played 3
Right. So we come here to do our jam with Bono, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they play till dawn and then they take off. And I was like, that's where I wanted it to be really informal. I've noticed that there's a lot of shows out here that have the fancy virtual sets like ESPN and stuff, and where somewhere down the road we might add some stuff to where we can, stream some videos and stuff. But I'd rather save the bandwidth and the actual stuff for some one-on-one conversation and getting out some good info and some positive vibes about drones, because we all know right now we got to have some good vibes for drones.
I love it.
All right, so Ron Brown, take it away.
Oh, thank you, Bill. Hello, Kelly. How are you doing tonight? You doing your dinner there?
I'm doing great. Like I said, kind of got home a little late, but
sorry to catch me with your mouth full.
That's all right. I'm going to cover it with a napkin.
By the way, Rick Carpenter says hello in the chat room.
I saw that, so I managed to bring up the chat room on the other tab here. So yeah, Ron, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm not a big channel either. I'm more of a super fan of Coast Drones, and now I'm promoted to being on the big show or whatever.
Nice.
I'm kind of like you in a way. I fly toy drones and DJI stuff, so I'm a mixture of, you could easily catch me with the Seam X5 as you could a Phantom.
Which one of you guys is the fan of the Xeno? Bill the drone reviewer.
I'm the Xeno expert.
Oh my Lord, that thing is a turd. I've had such bad luck with that thing.
Well, watch my reviews. I've pointed out almost all the the issues with it. But the Hubs is real friendly to me at first. They don't talk to me anymore since I have pointed out all the words of the thing.
Well, they sent me one in November, and I have to admit, I usually get things out in a month. That's kind of my goal. Is if I receive something within a month, I'll push it out. I haven't pushed that out because I had so much trouble with it. I was hoping to figure out what I was doing wrong, but I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. But you guys might know Philip Ulrich, who he co-hosts with me sometimes on my live show. He shot some video with me using the Xeno, and I literally it went haywire and crashed into the side of a fence.
Wow. Well, what it is if you turn to the left, it loses altitude. If you turn to the right, it gains altitude. If you yaw to the left,
those are features, not bugs, right? Those are features.
Yeah, and this is on the flight controller, and they've updated the flight controller, I think 4 times, and they still haven't got this resolved yet. So It's not you. And when you do the auto takeoff, it goes up about 5-6 feet and then goes right back down almost to the ground again. So they supposedly have that fixed now, but they don't. I've seen my latest video; it still loses altitude.
Well, Hubson makes some good stuff. That's what kind of surprised me, is that this thing was supposed to be. I imagine they thought it was going to be something that could compete with the Mavic, but it can't.
Well, I mean, really, the 501, which has been their bread and butter. I'm sure you've reviewed the 501.
I had a 501 years ago. Yes, love it.
It's been their bread and butter. But think about it. How many firmware updates have they done to that thing over the years before they finally got all the bugs worked out of it? So if they follow course with the Xeno here, about 3 years from now, the Xeno will be flying perfectly.
You mentioned bugs a couple of times. Have you ever flown a Bugs 2 or in any of the Bug series?
Yeah, I had the Bugs 3 almost as soon as it came out. Bugs 2, I have the Bugs Mini. I have most of the Bugs.
The Bugs 3 Mini is actually pretty hard to fly. It gets away. It's brushless and it's tiny and it gets away from you, but I like it a lot.
Right. It's more for an experienced flyer. I think it may be a little more fun to fly than the Bugs 3, which everybody, loves. Is kind of like the Bugs 3 is almost thought of the king of the toy quads.
Well, I actually bought a aftermarket gimbal. I'm trying to think of who made the gimbal, but anyway, I bought a
Walkera.
Maybe it was a Walkera. Yeah, it was because it was plastic, and I put it on the Bugs 3, and it worked great. It was actually like, hey, this is stabilized. But I don't know if you guys know or if you've seen the video. I put my Phantom 1. I still have my Phantom 1. Actually, I sold it to a guy, and then I bought it back from him just recently. And I was actually going to give it away at Spin Up, but I realized I didn't have the box, or I do have the box, but I couldn't get it back in the box, and it wouldn't have traveled well. So I kept it, and I put a Hero 7 on the Hero 7 Black GoPro on the Phantom 1, and man, it looks like it has a gimbal. It is so smooth. That Hero 7 is amazing.
I love that video, Kelly. It's one of my favorites. But as soon as I saw that pop up, because I did the same thing. I have the GoPro Hero 7 too, and I want to put it on a toy quad. But the weather's been so bad. I want to get on the Bugs 3. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because what people don't know is a lot of like the old SEMAs, you put action camera, and then they had so much shake the Jello. It was free Jello, but those things. But even if you just put a normal camera, like a cheap a Xiaomi Yi on the Bugs 3, it looks pretty decent. It's stable for it. It's the most stable toy quad I've ever seen.
If it's not a windy day, you can get some good shots with the Bugs 3. I totally agree with you. But I would say that you could put it on. You should definitely put it on your Bugs 3 and see how it does. I don't think anybody's actually done a video like that yet.
I want to be the first. I want to be the first, but the weather's been so bad here in New Jersey.
Well, the other thing. Have you tried the Bugs 3 Pro?
No, I haven't. But just like yesterday, I saw it on. I think it was Banggood for only $129 with the 720p camera.
Yeah, and it's got GPS. That's the big difference.
But a friend of our show here, John Coopy, which I don't know if you know him. He a lot of people found him. He reviewed it last summer, and in fact, it was Billy Kyle's unit that he sent to John. And John, wasn't really that crazy about it. Like it had, I don't remember all the issues, but it had issues.
And Brian from True Drone Reviews agrees with you. I just wanted to give a quick shout out. You can see Art's in the house. Mitch, yes, I'm giving a shout out. Ken's in the house. Ken Herron in the house.
Oh, goodness. Hey, what's up, Ken Herron?
Drone Effects, Ethan Mitchell, Cole Somerville, Robert Rudder.
I am Wedge, Steve Carpenter.
Sorry,
it's a good crew in there.
Shout. Didn't want them to think that we weren't involving them. I could see everybody was having fun. I just wanted to give you a shout out. Sorry, Ron. Sorry, Kelly. Please continue.
Hey, wait. Cole Somerville. He sent me an awesome picture wearing one of my Ready Set Drone shirts. Thank you, Cole. I appreciate that.
Cool. I just want to say before I don't get around to it that I guess I've been following Kelly since like 2015. In fact, the first videos I ever watched of you when you were reviewing the 3DR Solo.
Oh, that's the first one that really took off for me. That was kind of when I got serious.
At that point, I think I had the SEMA, and I wanted to upgrade to a better photography drone. Well, the SEMA wasn't a photography drone, but to a photography drone. And I was kind of torn between the Solo and the Phantom 4, which came out about the same time. And even though I didn't wind up going with the Solo, your videos helped me determine that I needed the Phantom 4. So, I mean, I want to thank you for all those great videos you did on the Solo those years ago.
The Phantom 4 blew the Solo away, but I will say I thought it was kind of a draw between the Phantom 3 and the Solo. I was gonna actually buy a Phantom 3, and I decided to buy the Solo. Did you guys know that 3DR's American headquarters was in California and Austin? So I knew people that worked. I knew people that worked for 3DR, and was talking to them, and they were like, "No, you got to get the Solo." And it wasn't a terrible drone for the time. It just was really big, and you had to install the gimbal yourself, right? It didn't come with the gimbal installed, and then you had to put the GoPro on it. There were a lot of steps to it, but I learned a lot from it. And it's funny because I sold it kind of right before they went belly up, and so it was perfect timing for selling it.
Cool. And I just want to say, I followed a lot of, channels that have grown a lot since 2015, 2016, when I first started watching a lot of YouTube videos. But I can say this about your channels a lot, but your videos are great now, but in some ways I kind of miss those older videos, those less sophisticated videos when your son was helping you or whatever. They had like a charm to them that I really enjoyed some of the I'm going to call them more low-tech videos of that era, and I say that a couple other guys like that too.
Man, I can still go low-tech. But I'll tell you what the problem, Ron, is. My son has turned into a teenager. That's the problem.
I figured that. You lost your helper, all right.
Well, part of the time, like most
for the most part.
He'll do it once in a while, and only if I promise him, something like, either take him out for ice cream or something. But no, he's a very good kid. He's into lacrosse. He's into ultimate frisbee. He's taking German. He's in the German club. He's in band. He's got a lot going on, and so it's hard for us to make that connection. But I appreciate that, and I certainly think that my whole philosophy has always been to try to be more authentic than to be polished.
Good. I like that. I'm going to pass you the bill here real soon, but I'm going to ask one question. He's going to ask you a lot of DJI related stuff, so I'm going to represent the toy drone flyers.
I'm going to take a bite of spaghetti so I can answer.
I'll get long-winded here. You take a long bite. I want to represent the toy drone flyers here. Go ahead, Bill. Shout those chat room out.
No, you give my question. You get your thing out. After you get done getting your thing out, then shout out chat, and that'll give Kelly an extra 3 bites of spaghetti.
Will do. So Kelly, like I said, I'm here to represent the toy drone flyers again, even though I love DJI too, and I know you used to love toy drones back in the day. I'm sure you still do.
I still do, yeah.
But okay, we talked about the Xeno briefly. But what do you think of the 2 new FEMI drones that have come out in limited quantities, but they're going to come out in mass quantities over the next month or two, the A3 and the X8?
Who are they made by?
Well, Xiaomi is selling them, but they have their branded FEMI, F-I-M-I.
I don't.
Not aware of them? Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen one. Do you have one handy? Can you hold it up?
No, we don't. They're hard to get now. Only if you pre-ordered, did you get the early models? Most regular people don't have the ones that are out now.
No, it's not one that I've heard of. There was a drone that I actually received a few months ago, and I saw who's the guy up in Canada that does gosh, I'm blanking on his name now. But anyway.
Captain Drone?
Yeah, Captain Drone. Thank you. Yes. It was the Ferry. Have you guys ever seen the Ferry?
Oh, yes. A lot of guys have that, reviewed it. Sim2 Ferry.
He gave that, yes, Sim2. Thank you. He gave that a really good mark, and I was impressed with the video. I have that in a box, and that's been one that I've been like, okay, I need to get a video out about this. Even though it's late to the game, it still seems like it's worthwhile. The problem, Ron, that I ran into is that so many of those toy drones started to become so similar for me. It was like, download the app. It does a flip. It has these waypoints that don't really work. They all became so similar that I just wanted to become a little more particular. And I used to actually work a lot with GearBest, as I think you probably know. And I kind of gave up on GearBest because the stuff they were sending me, a lot of times I couldn't even get it to work. And so I was like, I'm not even going to post a review of something I can't get to work, number one. Or if it was, I got it to work and it was terrible, I would post a bad review, and they didn't like that. But number two, I have to say the guy at GearBest was really pushy about things. He would tell me how poorly I had done that month. Like, you only brought us this many sales, and you know, we need more sales. I was like, dude, stop. You know, I'm doing this for fun, and I don't need the hassle of, you know, you telling me what I'm doing wrong.
Good answer.
That's part of why I stopped doing so many toy drone reviews, quite honestly, because I don't have a relationship with anybody else like I did with GearBest.
Right, I agree with you. Once all those drones came out, those Wi-Fi FPV drones that sort of looked like little mini Mavic clones, they just flood the market, and almost everything they were all the same drone.
Yeah, they were. There were some good ones. There's one, I don't know if you ever saw the video. There's one that I beat the crap out of. I flew it through a basketball net and like threw it in the air and just basically tried to destroy it, and it kept flying. It was a little Mavic clone. I want to say it was like Fiyun, F-E-Y. I have a hard time with those.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I can't say it either. What? Real quick one, and I'll give you to Bill. What's your favorite drone? What's your favorite drone of all time? I know that's going to be a tough one.
Oh no, that's not a tough one at all. Can I say two in two different categories?
You give 1 and 1A.
Category 1, absolutely is the Mavic 2. The Mavic, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys, I know Bill, the drone reviewer, has flown a lot of them, but the Mavic 2 is just butter. It is amazing. I actually sold my Phantom 5 or Phantom 4 because of the Mavic 2. I was like, I don't need the Phantom 4 anymore. So that's my favorite. And then my favorite FPV drone, and I've been trying to fly it more because I've been trying to get into flying like Ed Ricker does, is the Rodeo 110. It's the Rodeo, it's a Walkera Rodeo 110. Right. It is just an awesome little FPV drone. It takes fairly small batteries that are fairly cheap. You get a decent flight time. It's got all the, bells and whistles of a bigger FPV, like a 250, but it's a 110, so it's smaller. And it actually has acro mode, so 3 switches. I got the RTF version, so I've got angle, horizon, and acro, and I'm trying to get better at acro. So I love that drone.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we just did an episode last week. It was all about FPV flying and everything. Do you know where I was? Flyer?
You know where I was last weekend?
I saw in Vegas.
I was at Vegas at the DRL tryouts. Yes. No, I'm a terrible acro flyer. I mean, I'm probably better than 99% of the people in the entire world, but I'm still worse than everybody that was at that event. It was an amazing event, actually. So I had an agreement with DRL that I would let them give me feedback on the video. I just like an hour ago got the feedback email, and they had a few minor changes, just a few things they wanted me to cut out, but I should be able to get that done tonight and publish it tomorrow. It was an awesome event. And it's funny because I didn't realize what a big world there was. Well, I did realize this, but there's our group, right? I consider the camera group, the Ken Heron and the Billy Kyle and the you guys and the me and the Build a Drone Reviewer group, Coast to Coast Drones. That is one group of drone enthusiasts. This FPV group is it's just as big and just as much of a community. Yeah. And I was like totally immersed in it. And I had a couple of people that knew who I was and knew what the channel was, but for the most part, we're kind of segregated. And that's part of my goal, is to bring the FPV and the camera drone flyers together more.
Nice. I like to hear that. And it's amazing what some people are doing, putting really high quality cameras on the racing drones now and getting incredible video of them like circling over trees and flipping in, beautiful places.
Chasing race cars and chasing. Yeah. As a matter of fact, have you guys heard of the Cinewhoop? The Cinewhoop?
No.
So the Cinewhoop, it's C-I-N-E, like cinema. It's designed for that. It actually holds a GoPro. And it's like you know what a tiny whoop is, right?
Yeah.
Well, I remember the other day when we got it, it looks like it's a really like a 5-inch small whoop, and they got the GoPro. And remember I posted it the other day in Coast to Coast Drone.
Oh, right, Bill.
Yeah. The Cinewhoop is that's something I'm actually interested in getting. So do you guys know who Nurk is? Nurk FPV. He won the DRL championship last year. He has an amazing channel, and he uses the Cinewhoop a lot to do really intricate camera shots that you couldn't do with a bigger drone that had sensors on it, right? Because you got to fly through tight spaces. And I highly recommend checking out Nurk's channel. It's just Nurk FPV is his channel, but he was the best drone pilot in the world last year for racing, and he is the nicest guy I've ever met. I've met him 3 times now, and every single time he's hugged me. You know, he's like, "Hey man, it's so good to see you." And just, you know, he doesn't have that big star ego yet.
Right. That's good to hear. It's good to hear. Well, listen, I enjoyed that so much. I'm gonna pass it on to Mr. DJI himself, Bill H from Florida.
Not so sunny Florida today.
Yeah, I usually say sunny, but I couldn't say sunny.
Got a little rain coming in.
Yeah, I had some rain today. It was one of those rainy, misty, 60-degree, not gonna get warm days today. But we've had it lucky. It's been in the 80s the last few days. So
yeah, we have had crap weather for the last 2 weeks.
I saw that. I saw your video today.
With the frost. It was actually a pretty day, but it was just really cold today. I mean, for Austin, I had a lot of people. As a matter of fact, I'll go back to the chat. Like, I am Wedge lives in Minnesota, and he definitely was giving me a little hassle about, ooh, you've got a little frost on the grass. Thanks, Doug.
Well, I have to say this. I first heard of you, Kelly. It was in 2017. And I had just got my Mavic Pro, and I was out there and I was on YouTube and I was looking, and I found your channel, and I would binge watch your channel. And I'm also going to give a plug to Rick Smith, Drone Valley. I would binge watch both your channel and Rick Smith's channel at night in bed on my iPad.
Rick goes deep, man. He gets into the technical stuff.
Oh, he does. He says, I proudly admit I'm a nerd. I will always be a nerd, and that's who I am. But I'd sit there, and my wife was looking at me, says, you gonna get to bed?
Right.
Doing that. And I started my channel. It was May 31st, 2017. And the one thing I will always remember, Donnie, Big Drone Flyer 77, were the first 2 people who commented on my video. Very first 2.
Wow, I did not know that. Donnie's a great guy, but
Donnie's a great guy. He's in the hospital right now. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I did not know that. No, I will reach out to him. He commented on something I posted a couple of days ago, but yeah, I've never actually met Donnie in person. I really want to meet Donnie at some point.
Donnie's a great guy. I really like him. And then I enjoyed, for those of you that don't know, I had the opportunity to meet Kelly at the event in New York City over in Brooklyn, the See the Bigger Picture event.
So Bill, I have to tell you a funny story about that.
Okay.
That you probably don't know. That actually very few people know, but it doesn't really have to do with you. So I remember I was talking to you and your wife and that woman, Virginia, I think's her name, from DJI.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember, I was kind of cagey. I was kind of like glancing around and stuff. And I was trying not to look cagey, but there's a reason I was cagey. DJI had told me I couldn't bring my son to the event, and I brought my son anyway. He was there. And he was like, I could see him walking around looking for me, and I didn't want him to walk up because Virginia was the woman who told me not to bring him. And so I was actually concerned he was going to walk up right when she was standing there. And so I was like nervous as you know what during that conversation, because I didn't want her to, ultimately I don't really care, what are they going to do? But what had happened is, I told them I wanted to bring him, and then my main contact at DJI had given me permission. He said, "Yeah, that's fine, bring him." And then I'd gotten an email from her after I already bought the tickets and everything that said, "No, you can't bring him. There's no kids allowed." And I was like, "Really?" So I brought him anyway. And then
good for you. Yeah,
the whole time I was walking around at that event, like, "All right, Tate, you stay over there because I see her over there, and I don't want you two to run into each other."
Well, the one thing that a couple of things amazed me from at the event was they let us had a chance to, and I didn't do it because I was trying more to network with people. Was they gave opportunities to fly either the Pro or the Zoom outside, and they must have some pull with the city of New York because that airspace.
It was in a busy area.
It's just and I know you have to have permission, because I was talking to Ed Ricker that day, and Ed got hooked up with one of the clubs there where you have to pay to get permission to fly even in Brooklyn, okay, because you can't really technically fly in Manhattan. But he was telling me he was going to go after the event. He was going to go ahead and go over and fly. One of the things that amazed me was, you know, I met Ed too, and Ed's a great guy. I absolutely love.
Was Ed at that event?
Yeah, Ed was there.
Really? I don't remember seeing him. I saw Billy, and I saw you, and I saw Ken, and I saw Ken Dono, and I saw Rick Smith, but I didn't see Ed. But maybe I didn't know him at the time. Yeah,
well, it was funny. I did not realize that. You know, I'm just watching his videos. He's as tall as you, Kelly. It just blew me away.
Yeah, so I met him at Spin Up. He came down to Spin Up, and so we hung out. I mean, I know him fairly well now, but I'm just surprised that he was at the DJI event and I didn't see him or recognize him. But you know, it was a busy thing, and I was like sneaking around with my son.
Well, it was nice because it was a vacation for us because we hadn't been on vacation for a long time. So we ate under the Brooklyn Bridge that night. We took a nice walk by the river. It was wonderful. And I know you took your son to see, I think,
Hamilton. Yeah. We went to Hamilton that very night, and he didn't know we were going. It was a total surprise, and
that's awesome.
He was very into he's been into the soundtrack for a while. So it was like once I told him, he was like pretty blown away.
Yeah, that was just absolutely incredible. Well, as you know, one of the things that you commented on, by the way, again, thank you not only for the shirt, but for the book. And I've started reading the book. Okay.
Yeah. So I met the author, Jay Bear. He spoke at a conference. He spoke at a conference, and his presentation was so awesome that I bought the book, and then I read it, and then I've been sharing it with people because it just kind of changes your perspective on how to deal with, a-holes, basically.
Yeah, because you run into no matter what walk of life you're in, if you're going to run into that, and it's a great way to be able to handle these situations. So again, I just started reading it, and I'm just like, I was like having to put it down because I worked from home today, and I only had like a certain amount of time for lunch, and I was like, oh, dang it, I got to put it back down.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear it. It's a pretty quick read. I mean, it doesn't take too long, but there's some really funny stories. So what we're talking about, guys, do you mind if I mention the name?
Go for it. Yeah.
It's called Hug Your Haters by Jay Bear. And it tells all these stories about basically how companies deal with online trolls and online negativity and that sort of thing, and turn it into a positive. So it's a really cool book if you're a YouTuber, because you get a lot of that. I get a lot of that. Believe me. I mean, I think there might be a perception out there that I'm not getting the same kind of negative stuff that you guys do, but I do. I get it all the time, and my reaction is usually to try and figure out what's wrong with the person, why they're upset, or if they're just being saucy or whatever. I just don't play with them. I just say, okay, that's fine, whatever. But I will say, I don't know if you guys use the part of YouTube where you can actually delete clips or delete comments or approve them or whatever. I try to approve most of the negative comments as long as they aren't just downright nasty.
Right. And I do the same. That's kind of been the same thing that I've been doing lately. As long as it doesn't get personal or just go, get rude or vulgar or something, I'll let it go. I'll let it out there. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was, and I know you haven't done it yet, was I have just been absolutely fascinated with waypoints with the Mavic 2. And, a lot of people, that was, and I'll say this, since probably about November, not last year, that's been the #1 question I've gotten either via Twitter, via email, or in my comments. When are they going to come out with waypoints? And they finally did. And the biggest thing, a couple of big takeaways from this, for me, #1, it's very easy to use.
Yeah.
It's just it's so intuitive, and the other thing that has really impressed me is it stays on course. I took it up last weekend, and I have a video coming out right now where it got real windy. It was like, probably gusting 25 to 30 up there.
Wow.
And it still stayed on course. And the pictures that it took were fantastic. Well, one of the things that I did find out is I went ahead, and it has an option at each waypoint. You can take a picture. Okay. You can do that.
Yeah, you did that in your video.
Right. One of the things that I found out though before that, I did a video that I didn't put out, was I had hit record like I always do after I take off.
It wouldn't take pictures while it was recording.
Yeah, it disables those options, so it doesn't do that. So, but yeah, holding on, you know, it held the course. It was great. They have some things to work out. I mean, you know, my number one complaint has been, or the number one negative thing has been, you know, I'd like to be able to do it offline, like with leeching.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, I think they'll get there, but you know, it's one of these things. Number one, you know, DJI is giving it to you in the app. I mean, it's kind of like they worked on it. They put something out there. You know, I'm of the opinion, let's be grateful for it, kind of a thing. Okay.
Well, you can't install, you know, you cannot install Lychee on the smart controller yet.
Yeah. And you know, that's one of the things. And when the question and answer segment, that's one of the things I'm going to be talking to you about is that. But my experience with Waypoints has just been, I've just thoroughly enjoyed it. I also had some time with Florida Drone Supply, who I've had a good relationship with, had sent me Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual for about a week. And nice. I had some time with that. And that was very interesting. And I did a deep dive into it, and I'm probably going to do another video. What I found out was there's a FLIR makes the camera. They actually put out a great video about, now it was the same type of sensor that's in the Dual, but not the exact one. But they found out, and they did a lot of statistical studies, that it's probably best to be able to detect like a human being about 75 feet away.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know that it's not as high resolution as some of the FLIRs we've seen. You know, it's a bit, it's closer to, or even I've heard less than the FLIR you can attach to your phone.
Yeah. The one thing though that I did notice is you can tell on the app when you can touch something and get the temperature on it, but it doesn't record any of that. I mean, it's just, if you have a screen recorder on, you're great and you've got it, but if you don't, it doesn't do that.
Right. You need to write it down or just remember it.
And it doesn't, you know, that's a big thing. But I thought it was very interesting because of the temperature differences, like pointing it down at the ground and then at my hot tub and then at a window, you know, just getting those kinds of things. So, but yeah, it's going to be great for those smaller sized fire departments, you know, search and rescue. I mean, it's a steal for the kind of price for what DJI is asking for it. The regular camera is okay. I would equate the regular camera to like the camera from the Mavic Pro, which was still a good camera.
Really? So it's not the same camera that's on the Mavic. Well, so the Mavic Pro camera and the Mavic 2 zoom camera are very similar in terms of their specs.
Yeah. The actual camera on there, it's good. It's a good camera, but it's not like the quality that you would get on a Mavic 2 Pro kind of camera. And one of the things is, and I remind people of this too, looking at the housing that the camera is in, it's just a little bit bigger than the Mavic 2 Pro's housing. But yeah, and I'm telling people, you have to remember, you know, there's the FLIR is in there, and then the camera lens is in there too. So, you know, they're doing an awful lot in a very short amount of space with that.
Oh yeah, I mean the what they're cramming into the space they have, it's amazing what they can do with it. I have a question. So wait, Bill, do you have the smart controller yet?
No, I don't.
Okay. I got a question today on my channel, and I'm gonna try and figure it out this weekend, but I haven't tried it yet. I don't know if anybody knows if you can actually take a feed off the HDMI out of the smart controller if that feed has the heads-up display, like you know, a clean feed. In other words, like right now, I'm taking a feed off my GH5, and I can see on my GH5, I can see all the, you know, the volume levels and the aperture and the focus points and all that stuff. But I can take a clean feed out that doesn't have any of that. Can you do that off the Mavic or the Mavic 2 smart controller? If somebody in the audience knows, I'd love to hear.
Yeah, if anybody out there, if you can answer that for Kelly, that'd be great. Yeah, and somebody actually posed that question to me too, and I said I didn't know.
I'll test. I mean, I'll find out. I'll find out Saturday, but I just don't have time between now and Saturday. I was just curious what to look for.
So, well, with that, I'm going to pass it back to Mr. Bill Thomas, and we'll start getting Kelly some questions and answers here.
Yeah, and certainly people, if you have questions in the chat, please feel free. I'm happy. I'm looking at the chat right now.
I guess Bill's not there
because I was over here and playing with my dogs and stuff. Ryan Duvall wanted us to start talking a little bit more about racers. I myself have just ordered a Tiny Hawk. I had a dear friend that had built me a custom-made racer, and he sent me a transmitter, charger, and everything. And I still got to get into that.
What kind of transmitter?
It's some of his older stuff, kind of hand-me-down stuff that he was going to send to me so that I could get into it. But the thing about it is I think we kind of had a little miscommunication. I don't want to tear it up. I'm very grateful for him for building it.
So that's a Spectrum.
Yeah, and this is the drone that he built for me. It's like a 5-incher. But what I was trying to tell him is he sent it with just acro on it. So
wow.
Go ahead and put stabilized.
Wow, that's a good looking little drone.
So
I like the pink props.
Yeah, that's why I called it the Pink Lady.
Nice.
So then that's, and they were wanting to talk about that. I can see we got a friend of ours from Australia is in here, from down under. David is
Perth, West Oz.
Yes.
And I think everybody heard I'm not going to Perth, or at least not anytime soon. The company that was supposed to take Billy Kyle and I over there backed out. Steve Carpenter was asking about Spin Up 2019. So I'm pretty locked on the date. Can I tell you guys the date? By the way, yeah, none of you guys made it to Spin Up. I hope you can all make it this year. It will be October 19th. That's a Saturday. That's the date we're looking at right now, and I'm really hoping to get the venue locked in. The Dell Diamond is still like saying, "Oh, we can't take a reservation that far ahead." But also, I'm jumping all around. But RD's drone review said you just need to assign angle on it. That's a good point. So let me ask you this, Bill: have you plugged it in and tried to do anything with Betaflight or CleanFlight on it?
I have not done anything yet because the first thing that Brian warned me about was make sure you got a toolkit so you can take those props off before you even plug it into the computer. So I've ordered a toolkit and
yeah, take the props off. Yeah, you don't want it to be plugged in because you could accidentally spin the props up accidentally. But so how much do you guys know about Betaflight or CleanFlight? I can tell you a little bit.
I don't know anything about it whatsoever.
Okay. Well, because I don't want to sound like I'm telling you stuff you already know, but Betaflight and CleanFlight are both extensions for Chrome, and so you can go to the Google Store and download the extension for Chrome. They're free. And what happens with both of them, and I think Betaflight is the more popular one now. I've used CleanFlight more, but I think there was some sort of split between them, and they took the code from CleanFlight. If anybody's in the audience that can correct me, please feel free. Yeah, wait, who's the beta? John in here, he's the Betaflight expert. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I know. They took the code from CleanFlight and broke it into Betaflight, and they're basically do the same thing, but it's two factions. It's like two different types of browsers. So you plug it in via USB, you turn on Betaflight. Yeah, okay. RD's drone reviews is saying Betaflight's more popular, and I think that's right. You plug it in, and basically what happens is it talks to the drone, and you can go in and do things like set acro, angle. You can set your PIDs. You can set what different controls on the remote do, so you can tell it to arm the motor when you flip the switch or disarm it. It's really cool. It takes a little tweaking and playing with, but ultimately, I think, Bill, if you just download Betaflight, remove the props, plug it in with a battery, and then just play with it. And you'll see there's a lot you can do to tune it.
Okay, very, very, very cool. Okay, and I'm going to jump along here because I had some comical stuff that I wanted to, that I had found some stuff about you. First of all,
great.
I asked you what it was like to meet Mr. William Shatner in person.
Oh my God, yes. So he was a real grump, actually. So my business partner and co-founder of my company, he and I went up to Dallas. Gosh, this has probably been 7-8 years ago, and this was a surprise he got for me. And we saw Bill Shatner speak Does speaking tours. He's really interesting to talk to. Or to listen to on these speaking tours. And then he got the VIP thing where you basically file in a line and you get to go up, say hi to him and ask him a couple questions, and then they take your picture. Well, when they took the picture, he had this kind of scowl on his face. And my buddy Chris actually got one of our graphic designers to Photoshop a smile on his face. So I have that framed picture autographed with him smiling and me shaking his hand in my office.
Oh, very, very, very cool. Okay.
But wait, I want to say one more thing about Bill Shatner. So how many of you guys have heard of Has Been? Anyone in the audience know about Has Been? No? Silence? Crickets? So I'm going to say something to you. It's my favorite term that I use at work all the time. It's GTS, which is Google that shit. Sorry for the sorry for the expletive, but Google that shit. Has Been by William Shatner. He did an album with a bunch of artists. He's done this a couple times, and it's amazing. He worked with Ben Folds from Ben Folds 5. He worked with who's the guy that did Stepping Out? I'll think of his name in a minute. He worked with Henry Rollins. He worked with Kenny Chesney. He worked with just all these artists and put out this really amazing album. So I highly recommend the album. The very first song is called Common People, and it gives me chills every time I hear it. And that was with, oh God, I can't think of it. I'm gonna have to GTS right now. So you brought up William Shatner, and that's what I'm telling you is that album is actually very solid musically.
Okay, and you just jumped into my head because the second person I was going to ask you about was what was Henry Rollins like? Because he seems like very intense but intelligent as hell.
Yes and yes, very intense and until I interviewed him one time. So I used to work for a radio station, and he was extremely intense. And I asked him a few questions he didn't like, and I thought he was going to beat me up. This is when I was in college, and I was a pretty young kid, but I was kind of into punk rock back in the day. And Henry Rollins came through Austin. He played at the Cannibal Club, and we had press credentials for our radio station. And it was a rinky-dink little student radio station. Well, I say rinky-dink. It's the University of Texas, so it's a pretty big university. But we got to go in and interview him, and yeah, he was more intense. I'm sure he's very intelligent, but he was also lifting weights the whole time we were interviewing him with his shirt off. If that tells you anything.
All right. Okay. Now I have two more things, and then I will look.
These are great questions. I'm loving them.
Okay, and the next one I wanted to ask you about a famous person you met. When you met Lance, is he a little too buff?
So here's a weird story about Lance Armstrong. I actually used to live in an apartment in front of him. So our landlord owned 4 apartments. It was 2 on the bottom floor, 2 on the top floor. They were kind of like, I don't know, almost like little duplexes stacked on top of each other. And then he had a house and another apartment behind there. And the apartment behind us is where Lance lived. And so I knew him sort of then. I mean, and this is before he was famous. But the one time I actually really talked to him was at a concert we had gone to, and I'm trying to think of who we had gone to see at the Austin Music Hall. And he was outside, and it was actually a night that he got into an altercation with someone, and there was some news about it. But we saw him before that happened, before he had too many drinks, I guess. So, I think he's kind of a douchebag, honestly. Joe Jackson is the guy, by the way, on Has Been that belts out the songs. I just looked it up.
Yep, just threw it out there. So, yeah, he's talking in the chat, and he said Joe Jackson. So he was known. He knew what you were.
Oh, wait, who said that? Who?
Wait, I am.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, so Doug, did you look that up or yeah?
He knew it. I really think he knew it.
Yeah. Well, it's a fantastic album, really is. Has Been by William Shatner.
Okay, something else I want to do real quick because I'm going to have to mute. You guys know that we're about to get some phone calls coming in because we have a business where we take care of people. So we're about to pick calls for their rides. But I wanted to bring this in, and I'm going to pass it to Ron, and Ron can flip it around. Y'all can look in the chat while I'm muted. I want to know, is there a YouTube video showing you catching a grape from 30 feet in the air?
Oh, hell no, but there needs to be. There's plenty of videos, but I don't know that any are on YouTube. So I'm seriously, should I try it right now? Let me see here real quick. I'm seriously awesome at catching stuff in my mouth. Now, I'm in a very rigid chair, and you need mobility, but let's see if I can do this. If I miss, well, shame on me, but I got to take the headphones off. Here we go. All right. You see that? I'm freaking awesome at that. That's like a superpower that I have. Hold on, I'm watching myself on the replay.
I am too.
Yeah, so I can throw something as high as I can throw it and catch it in my mouth.
Wow.
Yeah, that won't get you far in life. But wow, Bill, great job on doing your homework, man. That's pretty good stuff.
That was good. Hey, Ron.
Go ahead, Ron. Go on. Go ahead and ask.
Okay.
Wait. Did you see Doug's comment about the dog gets nothing when I'm around? You're absolutely right, because I don't drop anything.
Yeah.
I guess it's my turn again. I just want to clarify that it was Brian, True Drone Reviews, the first one to mention Stepping Out by Joe Jackson in the chat room. And it was from the album Night and Day from, I think, about 1984, 85.
Yeah. So
the Joe Jack, not to get on a Joe Jackson rant here, but
I had the 45 of that.
How do you mind us asking how old you are, Kelly? If you don't want to reveal your age,
I
that's
don't.
fine.
I'm 49. I'll be 50 this year.
Okay. Early congratulations. I'll be 60. I'll be 60 this year, so I got you by 10 years.
Well, so actually, I'll be 50 like 10 days after Spin Up. So my birthday's October 9th, and Spin Up's October 19th. So I'm planning like a whole month of celebrating.
Wow, my birthday's October 2nd, so I better come out there this year.
Yes.
We can celebrate birthdays a couple of days apart.
Hey, Ron, you know what? You're going to have to chat with Bill for a minute, because I just realized I didn't plug my laptop in, and I got to go grab the power supply before it dies.
It's happened to me before, Kelly.
I'll be back in 5 minutes or 2 minutes, actually.
Go ahead. So, Bill H., do you have any other questions you want to ask Kelly when he gets back? I'm kind of out.
Sure do, but I have to tell all you, I'm going to be 61 this year, so I guess I'm the elder statesman of the group.
You're the top bucket list boy, huh?
I'm the top bucket list boy, for whatever that's worth. That probably maybe $5 on a Friday night at TGI Fridays, and I might get a beer. So
I was gonna say the old one, 99 cents, and that'll get you a cup of coffee, but not at Starbucks.
Not at Starbucks, no.
Wait a minute, since Bill's the elder bucket list boy, does that mean we should start doing his list first? I guess we need
I think so.
List.
Huh.
Well, I only got one call.
Oh, so, good.
If I mute again here in a second, that will be the deal. I'm expecting probably a couple. Maybe.
A lot of guys in the chat room have us beat. Art says he's 69. Idaho Sledhead 62. Drone Effects with Called 62.
Peter Carroll 68.
Yeah. Art's.
Oh, Mitch has us all beat though. Old guy in a drone.
How old?
Mitch is 73, I believe.
Iron Wedge is 54.
Floyd.
Ethan Mitchell's only 39. Floyd 62. Steve Carpenter's 65. He's a young looking 65, aren't you? Isn't he, Steve? Rick's 64.
Mitch is 72. I was close. Wow. Mitch.
Congratulations.
I was close.
Mitch wins the do we have something to give away to the oldest person in the chat room?
Yes, he gets a hat from Bill the Drone Reviewer, which I already gave him.
Okay. Birdman's 55. Wonder who the youngest person in the chat room is.
Brent APO3. Do I get youngest at 16?
Okay, I think he takes it by a long shot.
Yeah.
Remember when you were 16, Bill?
16? Yes, I do, because I remember getting my driver's license when I was 16.
Okay. Remember we were talking about the old albums, I think on the first show, You had the Peter Frampton and Elton John.
Well, did I tell you my story about the Peter Frampton album?
Yeah, on the very first show. But it's a good one. You can tell it again to fill the space here.
Oh yeah. Well, the song "Do You Feel Like We Do," the live version, it's like about 13, 14 minutes long, and he used what he called a voice box
he blew into like a tube almost.
Yeah, it was almost like a tube. There was apparently it was like wrapped around a microphone, was like a rubber kind of contraption. And at the 13-minute mark in the song, it sounded like he said a bad word in the song. Well, my mother, this is good, Kelly. You probably want to listen to this.
Okay.
I'm sure you heard of Peter Frampton. Okay.
Oh yeah.
We're talking Peter Frampton.
Frampton comes alive.
Frampton comes alive. Okay. Well, my mother she would let me get any album. Okay. Now, if you ever, if you know about Elton John, one of his Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, if you flip that album over on the back, it looks like there's a lot of angels around there. No, there are nude people all over the back of the album cover. Okay. She let me get that. No problem. But for Frampton Comes Alive, she refused to let me get that. And I was just like, okay, what's going on here? Because my friends had it. The music was just incredible. I couldn't figure it out. And then somebody told me that, oh yeah, at the whatever mark, it sounds like he says a bad word. I says, are you kidding me? He says, no. Well, my mom worked in she was an industrial nurse in a plant. And the guys at the plant told her, your son doesn't need to be listening to that kind of stuff. So I start college. It was my freshman. My mom had just left. She handed me $50. She says, if you need something warm, like a warm blanket, you can go run and get it. Well, there was a Woolworths, which was about a 2-mile walk into town, right? I took that walk.
You are showing your age.
Yes, I am. I took that walk into Woolworths. I got Frampton Comes Alive. I got changed to come back. And then I went back to my dorm room, opened the windows, opened the door, put it on the turntable, and cranked that baby up. I was just howling that night, and I had that album. That was one of those things. But what was real funny, not funny, was his next album. He went completely soft, and that kind of killed his career. It just kind of like, because I went to see him in concert with my ex, and I went to see him at an all-day concert over in Pittsburgh. It was one of those ones, Deep Purple, Foghat, a Foreigner. You name it was there, and it was like there was a haze in the stadium that day. Okay, and I was one of the ones who didn't haze or drink that day because I was the designated driver, and I didn't do either at that time. But I enjoyed the music. Well, sure. I went to see Frampton after he came out with that other album. It was such a different concert. I said, you know what? And I said at the time, if he keeps this up, he's going to kill his career. And that's exactly what happened. His career just tanked after that.
And he said, Bill, I want you to show me the way.
The funny thing, Bill, is I saw the same show in Philadelphia that you saw in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. I saw the same exact show probably the next day.
All right, so I think we should ask the audience maybe first concert they ever saw. And I'll start if you guys don't mind. And it's actually pretty embarrassing.
Well, being really quick, because Bill, while you were walked away, Bill was talking about what we were doing when we were 16, and about how the Woolworths. So I wanted to bring up that when I was younger, I used to buy candy at the Ben Franklin, and
what I
was doing when I was 16 years old was bonding with my girlfriend's dad. So go ahead and take that off, Kelly.
Well, bonding with your girlfriend's dad at the Ben Franklin.
Yeah. That was. He said, "What were we doing at 16?" So I was bonding with my girlfriend's dad at 16.
And did he like you? Did Edgar Winter Group? I'm seeing Blues Brothers, nice. Art Co. Larry Boggs said Edgar Winter Group. The only song I think I know by Edgar Winter Group is "Free Ride." I think that's a Edgar Winter song. Bachman Turner Overdrive and Heart. Yes.
Oh nice. My.
Oasis. All right.
Wow.
Oasis, yeah. You know, Oasis is one of those bands that I go back and listen to them and I really enjoy them, but they just kind of burned out. Frampton or Wings. All right. Styx. So So here's mine. This is the lamest concert ever, although it could be the coolest ever too. I saw at the Houston Astrodome at the Livestock Show and Rodeo in Houston, Texas, with my parents and my sister, because my sister was a big fan, Donnie and Marie Osmond.
Oh, wow.
Pretty cool, actually.
And then I think my next concert was Neil Diamond with my mother. And then it got better from there.
Huh.
Second concert was Huey Lewis and the News.
Nice. I saw the Cars. I've seen a lot of shows over the years, but I kind of Rush. Yes, thank you, Doug. I think that's why I like you so much. Rush is. I will tell you, I saw Rush about 4 years ago on their Snakes and Arrows tour, and my buddy Chris, the guy that took me to see, he's my business partner, good friend for years. He took me to see William Shatner. He got us like second row seats for Rush at the Irwin Center. And no opening act, and we get there, and of course, what do you expect at a concert? You know, as Bill said, there's a lot of smoke, there's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of this and that and whatever. We get to the Irwin Center, which is the big concert arena in Austin. The lights are all on. There's no opening act. They're playing music, like jazz music, at kind of a moderate level, and all the guys in the front row are handing business cards to each other. that was how it went. That's. Yeah, like
What?
X crossed. Thanks for Go Astros. Go Stros.
Yes, right.
Very cool.
Kelly, what is the best concert you've ever seen?
Oh gosh. I can't tell you a best because there've been so many good ones, but and as I said, I'm kind of a punk rocker, or have been. I saw Jawbreaker last summer, and they're a punk rock band out of California from the 90s, and they were fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic. I went to Riot Fest in Chicago and saw a whole bunch of good shows there. Superchunk is another one of my favorite bands, and I've seen them 5 times, and every single time it's been amazing. A band called the Archers of Loaf. So I'm going
Wow.
really, but if you want kind of more mainstream best concerts, I will say Rush was fantastic. I enjoyed it. Genesis, I saw Genesis with Phil Collins, and that was really cool. That was a great show. I saw Tina Turner actually once, and she was really good. I saw Billy Joel with my mother. I went to several concerts with my mom, and she loved Billy Joel, and I thought he was fantastic.
That was great.
Yeah. So I don't know that I have a like absolute favorite, but those are some of my highlights.
Well, it seems like Wedge likes a lot of metal. He's like Metallica.
Yeah. Actually, funny thing, I saw Metallica and I saw them at Salesforce, at Dreamforce, which is a big, and if you guys are familiar with Salesforce.com, it's a big software company. So I went to their conference like 4 years ago and saw Metallica. And another funny story about Chris, my business partner, who I keep, sounds like my wife, but he's not. He's my day wife, is what my regular wife calls him. Chris and I went to that show, and we did a little pre-gaming beforehand and had a few drinks, and in the exhibit hall at Salesforce or at Dreamforce. And then we get there, and we think nobody's going to be at Metallica, right? This is a corporate conference. The place is packed. It was at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. And we wedge our way up to the front, like push our way up, and it's Metallica, right? And then they're like 45 minutes late coming on stage, and Mark Benioff, who's the CEO, comes out to introduce them or whatever. And as soon as Mark Benioff comes out, 45 minutes later than they were supposed to start, my buddy Chris, who's a huge Metallica fan, he's like, I gotta pee, and he had to leave and go all the way to the back. So I watched him right up against the stage, because I wasn't gonna go anywhere.
Here's one for you guys. Okay, you guys, and I know Kelly's met my wife, and my wife is just an unbelievable person, and just
very supportive of you, which is awesome.
Yes, she is, Kelly. She's incredible, and I'm going to be having her on the channel more because I've gotten a lot of compliments about that. But one of the concerts that she has gone to see in this group, and you guys probably have heard of them, Pantera.
Right.
Okay. My wife, my unbelievably nice wife went to see Pantera.
Pantera is too hard for me, and I'm into some hard stuff.
She loves Pantera. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
And the story was, well, Dimebag Darrell, he was in a nightclub in Columbus, Ohio when I was living there at the time. and he got shot and killed up there. And I know the exact spot where that.
I know that story. Yep.
Yeah. That's one of them. But one of my absolute favorite, you know, and I mentioned it, was Peter Frampton. The way the man plays the guitar, and he still has it. And I've watched some of his work right now, some of his stuff that he's put on YouTube lately. He still can really play the guitar. Now, one of the other my other favorite guitar player, and he is just incredible, is Phil Kagi. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's a Christian artist, but the man, he sounds a lot like Paul McCartney. All right, he has that sound about him.
Guitar style or singing?
Singing.
Okay.
But his guitar style, he actually is missing part of one of his fingers. He accidentally cut it off when he used to be doing drugs on a cigar cutter. But the man, who was it? Who was Valerie Bertinelli married to?
Van Halen.
Van Halen said Phil Kagi is the best guitar player he ever saw in his life. And this guy is just, listen to some of his stuff. His guitar is just mind-blowing.
I've never seen Van Halen in concert. That's one that I regret. I mean, it's too late now, right? I wouldn't want to see him without David Lee Roth, but because Sammy Hagar, I'm not a big fan of his. I always heard, you know, there was always these discussions about Yngwie Malmsteen, if you guys know who he is, or Randy Rhoads being the greatest guitarist ever, you know. And of course, I think everyone will agree, especially I Am Wedge, that Neil Peart is the best drummer in the world.
No doubt.
From Rush. He's pretty awesome.
I just hate he got such bad arthritis now.
Yeah. Well, have you guys ever watched? There was a really great Rush documentary a few years ago called, I think it was called "Living in the Limelight," and it was about like when he lost. You know, he lost his wife and his daughter like within a 1 year period. I mean, a really dark period in his life.
No.
Crazy.
Oh, I Am Wedge, Volbeat. I know Volbeat. They're like Swedish or something. My friend Chris is into them. He's a real metalhead. So Foo Fighters, that's good. I've seen the Foo Fighters live.
I wanted to bring up, I got to see Metallica at Woodstock 94 in all the mud.
Nice. Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
I was right there in the middle of the mud fight with Green Day.
Green Day.
Well, it rained so much they had brought sod into this farm so that we could all stand on it, right? Well, it just started pouring down, so the chunks of sod you could just pick up in your hand, and then we just started winging it at the stage, and so they just started picking it up and throwing it back. So it got into this. They just called us the mud people because we were sliding down banks and everything. It's kind of fun.
Wow. Artco says Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jeff Beck, which that would be a pretty incredible show. I mean, especially with Stevie Ray being a Texan, but, you know, kind of sad to see that he died. But Jimmy Vaughn's still going strong. Family Style, one of my favorite albums of all time. It was Jimmy Vaughan, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and a bunch of
that's another greatest guitarist of all time too.
Yeah, for sure.
How about you guys are forgetting Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin?
I have to say I'm not a big Zeppelin fan. I love the Beatles, but I mean, there's a few songs like "Fool in the Rain" that I love, and you know, that's my favorite Zeppelin song. I love the kind of calypso thing it goes in the middle.
So, what do you think of Van Fleet then?
You mean Fleetwood Mac?
No, Greta Van Fleet, the new little band that won the end of the year. Sounds so much like Led Zeppelin. They've been calling them clone.
No, never heard them. I'll check them out though. So I want to put a challenge out to everyone in the audience and all three of you guys right now. I've been doing this thing recently, and it's actually really cool. So I don't know how much you listen to the radio in your car, and I don't listen to the radio that much, but I've started kind of trying to. When I hear a song that I know, but I don't, I've never really paid much attention to. So I'll give you a great example. I've never been a big Black Sabbath fan or an Ozzy fan, but I was driving down the road the other day, and Chris Duarte, yes, I agree with you, Birdman 316. I'm driving down the road the other day, and War Pigs comes on. I don't know if you guys have ever really listened to War Pigs, but that is such a great song. And I didn't realize it until I actually Aldo Nova, until I actually turned it up and really. So here's my challenge, my exercise is take a song that's playing that you might not like that much or might not have that much respect for, and just listen to it really closely and try to figure out what other people like. There is a book. Has anybody read Stranger in a Strange Land? Who in the audience has read? Any of you guys read Stranger in a Strange Land? No? So in the book, there's this term, and you probably heard it. It's a pretty common term on the internet. It's called to grok something. And to grok something means to understand it at its deepest level. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to grok these songs. I'm trying to just understand what they're all about. And I get War Pigs now. It's almost like a jazz song. I mean, it's anyway. Yeah, Idaho Sledhead. I think you know what. Need to Go by Kelly and Everyone. What is that? Anyway, I keep getting distracted by the chat.
Nah. But well, that's a good idea to like you said, to try to appreciate some music that you didn't necessarily think that that was your
all of a sudden if you really listen to it in a different way with an open mind, sometimes you'll say, wow, actually this is a pretty good song. A lot of the music is stuff my sister liked. My sister and I had really opposite musical tastes growing up. She really liked Duran Duran and a lot of new wave stuff and The Cure and stuff like that. And I hated all that stuff in high school. But I've started listening to The Cure with an open mind, and The Cure is actually a pretty good band.
Yeah, they are. They are. So we turned this into we went from coast to coast drones to coast music.
Right.
That's perfectly cool with me. He was talking about The Cure. Okay, I got one for you. You ever listen to Depeche Mode?
I hate Depeche Mode. Even with an open mind, I still hate them.
I never. It's cool that we brought this up. I never did like them. Still don't really like them, but I listened to them a lot because the girl I wanted to go out with liked them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're one that I actually have tried to open my mind to, and there's got to be a certain level of musicianship before I will take it. Like The Cure has that.
Yeah,
right. Well, it was a great thing when the 80s were over. We rolled into the 90s and got all our Nirvanas and Pearl Jams and got some some real music back again.
I saw Nirvana at Liberty Lunch, actually, and that was a really fantastic show. It was right after Nevermind came out, and before it became popular. So they were still kind of like unknown at that point, and it was a crazy show. Anybody? Hey, I Am Wedge, or anybody else? Anybody else know Fugazi or Minor Threat? Two of my favorites.
I know why you and Ed Ricker get along so good.
No. He's, it's funny. I drove him somewhere and we were talking about music, and he's more mainstream than me.
Well, okay. I did that video like a week ago where he was like doing a cover, and it was like the really heavy duty speed metal.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen it.
He did it on Facebook, and I was like, wow, they were really going at it.
Oh, there's one other guitar player I want to mention. Have you guys heard of Mark Tremonti? Do you know who he is?
No.
He was with Creed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We went to see Creed back in 2009 in Columbus, and Mark Tremonti he's probably one of the best guitar players in the world too. The guy he's just absolutely incredible. Now he also plays with a band called Alter Bridge too.
Miles Kennedy. Boom, boom.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. That Alter Bridge is just solid rock. It's just solid. I just absolutely love that.
If you ever get a chance and you want to listen to a guy with a good voice, Miles Kennedy, he plays with Alter Bridge. He's done Slash, and he also has his own album out. Kind of reminds you of like a rockabilly country rock kind of thing, and it's really, really good.
Cool.
Hey Kelly, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Okay? All right. We talked earlier. I'm gonna do 180 here. We're gonna start talking about drones again.
Get us back to drones. Working our way back.
Get back to coast drones here. The smart controller. Okay. Now I'm not gonna. The one. Everybody has said price. But I did a pluses minuses on it video. I've never even touched it. I've never even seen it. I wanted to ask you personally, what's your favorite thing about the smart controller, and what's the thing that you like least about the smart controller?
My favorite thing about the smart controller is that it is so bright and you don't have to use your phone. That's two things, but I'm tired of always having to plug my phone into everything, and it's just so nice to have it all. Just pull it out, turn it on. You got a bright, very, very bright screen that you can see, super good touch screen. Yeah, I love that about the smart controller. It's a bright screen and not using my phone. The thing I don't like about my smart controller is that I have lent it to several people and I haven't had it in about, I don't know, a month now. So it's actually on its way back to me right now, but I've let a few people borrow it and I don't have it. So that's my least favorite thing about it.
You know, one of the things that I did find out, which was real interesting, is, you know, here's my Note 8. My Note 8 has 1,200 nits on it, and the smart controller has 1,000 nits.
1,000, yeah. I'd love to see the two of them compared, you know, side by side. It's the smart controller is much brighter than my iPhone 10, which I think has about 650 nits.
You know, and the one thing for me, the thing that obviously, you know, the convenience factor, like you were talking about, was one of the things that I really like about it. But one of the downfalls for me, and it's not one that, you know, a lot of people say, is the physical size of the screen, because no,
it's
really?
it's not for me. It's a fine size for me. Now, I don't have one of these jumbo phones like you do. I have a regular size phone, so
okay.
So maybe I'm just used to, you know, but if I wanted something that big, I just plug my iPad in.
Yeah, see,
I think that's what Bill was getting at, Kelly. A lot of us fly with the iPad Mini which is what 2 or 3 inches bigger than the smart controller as far as screen size.
Well, you know, I'm still south of 50, so I can still see the screen. You guys up there pushing 60, you know, you
right.
I'm kidding. I'm getting there soon.
But well, the smart controller may have come with a bigger screen option next year.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't know. I mean, it seems fine to me, and ultimately, it kind of depends on what you're trying to do with it. I guess, Bill, if you're trying to do waypoints with it and you want to get really precise, I could see where having a bigger screen would be useful, especially for waypoints, because you really want to be precise. But for the stuff I'm doing, which is mostly just tracking other things and getting really pretty shots, it works fine.
Okay, so point out real quick. Rick Halber is talking about that he got the 7.85-inch Crystal Sky, and he is looking for a case for that monitor. Does anybody have an idea of that? No.
You know, it's funny. I got a question actually on my channel a couple of days ago about the Crystal Sky. I aside from the smart controller and a friend's Crystal Sky, which I saw one time, I've never owned one, so I don't know much about them.
Kelly, before we let you go, do you have any Phantom 5 rumors or inside information you can share with us here?
Well, it might just be right over here, just out of frame.
You did a Freudian slip a little while ago and said you sold your Phantom 5 when you meant to say Phantom 4.
I did.
Yeah.
No, I don't, and if I did, I wouldn't say. So sorry.
Yeah,
under NDA.
Yep.
All I was wanting to do was really try to get on one of those cool, really, you know, frisbee discs that you were giving away earlier, but I don't know that was on Instagram, and so it didn't really do me any good. So I was just like,
so who here can throw a frisbee? Who can throw a flick
I can. I played ultimate frisbee back in the day. I can still flick it pretty good.
Nice. Okay, well, send me your address and I'll send you a disc. I got 50 of them, so I'll send you one.
Still called
okay. Will do.
Well, so here's the thing. This is a Discraft. So Discraft is an ultimate disc. Whammo makes the frisbee, and Whammo makes decent discs too. But this is the one most ultimate players prefer.
Nice.
Yeah. Remember what was it? You could do like the freestyle and spin it around on your finger. And
yeah. I mean. So one of the things that was pretty cool was when I was in Vegas with the guys from DRL, both Nurk, who's the 2018 champ, he and Jet have both played Ultimate before. So I gave them both the disc. And the whole time during the interview, they were both playing with their discs.
Well, I can remember when I first got into it, like I said, when I first started playing with it, it was just frisbee golf, and you like threw your frisbee towards a post.
Yeah.
You start, there was a throw like this, and then there was a throw where you had your finger on the outside, and then of course the standard throw. And
yeah, I played a lot of disc golf. They have several courses here in Austin, but but it's funny because most people who, when you say you played Ultimate, they think you're talking about disc golf, and they're totally different. I mean, Ultimate is a very, very it's a very cardiovascular sport.
More like you're playing football or something, soccer,
Well,
than
more
golf.
more running than football or soccer. You're pretty much constantly running, more like basketball, really, because basketball you're going up and down the court the whole time. Ultimate, you're going
constantly passing. Yeah.
So,
you're right.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely am looking forward to giving some of these away. And Bill, if you're a Ultimate player, a previous Ultimate player, and I just want to give them away to people that'll actually use them. I don't want to give them away to people that they'll just sit on a shelf. So if you'll throw it, I'll send it to you.
Oh no, I'll throw it. It'll get dirty. It'll get muddy. It'll get all kinds of juice on it. Yeah.
That's perfect. And the nice thing too is you can even eat your dinner out of it, right? It's a nice little plate if you're camping. People have been known to pour beverages into it and drink them out of it. You can use it as a dog thing. You can use it as a hat. It works in so many ways. So versatile.
And you could also write secret notes on the inside about the Phantom 5 too.
Absolutely. I wrote right there. So here's a quick throwback thing since we've been doing this tonight. The charts. Artco mentioned charts. How many of you guys saw the original Tron movie? That was one of the movies that made me fall in love with Frisbees, because that's basically what they had. All their information was on the disc, and they had it on their back, and then they would throw it at people and kill them. D-Res.
Super cool. Yeah, I remember that also. That was what was so great about Ready Player One.
Yeah.
It was like reminiscing for us completely.
Kind of like Tron, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I read the book, and Ready Player One the book is very, very different. The movie changed a lot. The book is amazing, actually. If you like the movie, I suggest reading the book because and actually there's a lot of references to, of course, 80s culture, but also Rush. Rush plays a big part in the book.
Yeah. And also too, something else you were bringing about earlier. You were talking about Bohemian Rhapsody. It's kind of like Freddie, but really Freddie light.
Yeah. I thought I had low expectations for that movie, and I absolutely loved that movie. I thought it was great.
Oh, I love it to death, but it really didn't show what Freddie was really like, and just how, because he was a lot looser and a lot wilder than they really let him go in there.
Well, that Brian May produced or helped co-produce that movie, so I'm sure they were trying to paint him in a really bright, whatever. At the end of the day, it was entertaining. What the story was okay. It was really the concert scenes that I loved. And by the way, there is a song by Queen. I want to give everybody a homework assignment before the next First Friday, or even the next time I'm on the air. Go, if you like Queen, go listen to a song off the album The Game. It's called The Game, called Dragon Attack. I don't know how many of you have ever heard that song Dragon Attack, but it is the most awesome Queen song ever.
My favorite Queen song is still Somebody to Love.
Oh, that's a great song. But you know what? Somebody to Love is all about the vocals. Dragon Attack is all about the bass. It's got this bass line in it that
very cool.
Killer. All right, guys. I'm going to leave you with Dragon Attack.
Yes, that sounds
all
good.
right, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey,
Kelly, I hope to see you at Spin Up this year.
Yeah, so seriously, October 19th, and I'll be letting all the insiders, all the folks that I talk to regularly know. I'm going to let everybody know, but of course, the people who watch these live streams will know first. And I want to try and kind of price it this year so people can still make it, but at the same time, it doesn't lose money.
Exactly. We will do everything in our utmost to help you out. We'll talk about it.
Promote it.
Absolutely.
Possibly can to get as many people involved. And yes, we're not expecting any fringe benefits for help. We'll do our best to get there.
All right. Well, at least
I only have one other trip that I have to make this year, Kelly. That's up to Ohio at the end of June when we're expecting our first grandchild. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
yeah.
Awesome. I will tell you that probably Ohio is nicer than Texas in June, but Texas is much nicer than Ohio in October.
I agree 100%. I lived there for 30 years.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we will say thank you very much to everyone that was here tonight. Hopefully sometime in the future we can have Kelly back with us. And I will pass it to Mr. Bill and let him say his goodbyes, and Ron, so that we can finish up for the evening. Bill.
Bill, thanks so much. It was great having Kelly on tonight. Kelly is one of my favorite people. He just has an incredible way about him. He's real, and I think yeah, that's the thing that I could say the best about Kelly is what you see is what you get from him. He's no pretenses about him. He's fantastic. He's great, but you know, on his YouTube videos, he's even better in person. He's just such a wonderful, warm, friendly person. He's a great guy. It was a pleasure to have him on tonight. I communicate with him regularly. He's been a great mentor to me since day one, since I started my channel, and I really look up to him. You know, I thank him for what he's done for me. I thank him for the book and for the T-shirt. Those are great things. But even and he, by the way, he also has a Build a Drone Reviewer shirt and a mug. And his favorite mug that he drinks out of every morning is Build a Drone Reviewer's mug. So I thought I'd throw that in as well. But it was a great show tonight. And I'm real. I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are fantastic to be a part of. This is a great show. I'm proud to be a part of it. And I'll pass this on to Mr. Ron Brown.
Hi, I want to thank Bill Ace for you know, getting Kelly on the show tonight. It was a pleasure having him on. He was a fantastic guest, and you know, such a good guy. You know, such a good part of the drone community. You know, just represents the community so well. And that's really it. You know, I'll pass it back to Bill Thomas for some final words on the evening.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, and I am very grateful to Bill for getting Kelly in here with us. And just like I said earlier, he's welcome to come back with us anytime, and we might beg him to come back once or twice. Who knows? Very, very grateful for my co-hosts each and every week. Please go and check out their channels. Please subscribe. Please do not forget to go check out Mr. Bill the Drone Reviewer on Tuesday nights for Rotor Talk Live, and I do believe this Sunday we're going to have a little Sunday Rotor Talk, so please pay attention to his channel for your alerts. Go ring those bells. Make sure to check out Ron's channel about any updates with Xeno, GoPros, and anything else, and please come back next week and join us here on Drone Therapy. I'm Bill Thomas. Live long and prosper.